Welcome to the City of St. Albans official podcast from the desk of Mayor James, a podcast dedicated to adding context and commentary to the important issues here in St. Albans, West Virginia. In each episode, we'll sit down with St. Albans Mayor Scott James and discuss relevant and important topics related to the city, as well as highlight upcoming events here in St. Albans. I'm your co-host, Anthony Romeo, and we do hope this inside look at our city government helps you feel more engaged with your community. And be sure to subscribe to our show on your favorite podcast platform. We're on Spotify, Apple, Google, and more. And of course, each episode will also be made available on the city's website at stalbanswv.com/podcast. With that said, let's welcome our host, the Honorable Mayor Scott James. How are you?
I am wonderful. Thank you so very much, Anthony. I appreciate the opportunity and to talk about St. Albans, a place I dearly love, and I'm never short of words for St. Albans.
That's something I know all too well. I tell you, it seems like every time I run into you out in town, you're always praising the town and how much progress is being made, everything coming to life, and it's a wonderful feeling to live in a thriving community.
It really is. We're very excited about St. Albans becoming a destination spot for a lot of people. Absolutely. For shopping, dining, having a few spirits, and,
sure.
and all the events that are going on. And it's awesome. I was talking to a couple from South Charleston the other day, and they were just going on and on and on about St. Albans.
Absolutely.
At the Chili Fest. And the events that are going on, and how they don't have all those events up in their community. And we invite people from all over, other communities, other counties. Come on down and enjoy St. Albans, West Virginia's best kept secret.
I tell you, that must be meaning that we are doing something right then.
Yeah, I agree.
Absolutely.
100%. And, I got to give a lot of credit to volunteers. I got to give a lot of credit to these entrepreneurs that have opened businesses, and they work closely with the established businesses that have been around for a long, long time. They feed off each other, they help each other, and that's what's making it successful.
Absolutely.
We're not competing against each other.
It does feel like a big kind of group and community effort to bolster business, bolster the community and events and everything else, and it does feel good. I mean, me as a business owner too, I feel like it's a camaraderie, a collaboration, and a community all working together for the greater good.
Well, it really is, and the key term there is community.
Yeah.
I coach basketball. I was head girls basketball coach at St. Albans for 14 years, and I had several of the coaches talk about how St. Albans still has community.
Yeah.
All right. And a lot of these places don't have that anymore. And what I wanted to do was bring that back and build on community to where people are proud of our community and want to be part of it and enjoy all the activities and the events and the festivities that go on here in St. Albans.
Absolutely, and of course the amenities that that are taking shape out there. I mean, if you look on Route 60. I saw it again today coming back down here for the podcast, but Route 60 is coming to life, especially with that the progress being made on the boat dock.
Well, it really is. I stopped by the other day just to check on the progress.
Yeah.
And if you notice the skirt.
Oh, yeah.
It's
Dragon.
red and black, baby. It's red and black. It's all about the red and black of St. Albans. And it's going to be awesome. It's 20 feet longer than the old dock. They've expanded the parking area. It's just exciting what's going on in St. Albans.
It is. I tell you, it's going to make a big impact on, like you said, people coming to St. Albans as a destination town because they now can enter their boats in easier. They can get into the river easier, plus have better access to, the amenities there at the park and just have a better experience there. And it's amazing to see it take shape and quickly be, so close to being complete.
Well, true. And people don't realize, people just don't bring their boats and put in the river. They stop at Kroger's and some of the local shops and they buy their drinks, they buy their food and everything else. They get gas at Lou Wendell Marina. Mm-hmm. All right, so it boosts the economy all the way around when we have a very up-to-date, state-of-the-art dock down there at roadside.
It does. It makes a heck of a difference. You know, you mentioned infrastructure and the things that make the city a great place to be. You'd mentioned to me kind of coming on here, the sidewalk improvements have actually crossed the desk of council and council meetings and kind of been talked about. You know, can you bring us up to light about some of the improvements on the sidewalk areas downtown? Is that in town?
Well, we've done some work downtown, leveling them out in the past, but we have a streetscape project that bids went out and have already been submitted.
Cool.
To do sidewalks on Canal Terrace. Unfortunately, you know, when it first started, it was supposed to go from Park Street up to about city limits towards McKinley.
Sure.
But due to the time constraints that the state had, we're not going to get quite that much, but we're going to improve the sidewalks on Canal Terrace.
Right.
So we're excited about that.
That's great, because I did notice at least some sidewalk improvement there on Main Street, right around where Bent Wheel is.
Yes.
And it made a heck of a difference. I mean, just in that little stretch of sidewalk. Imagine what it's going to look like there once they start the greater project downtown.
Sure. And I've also got Regional Intergovernmental Council, RIC is what we call it, applying for grants looking at replacing sidewalks up in the Ordnance Park area.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah.
That'd be great. I tell you. That'll make a huge impact in that area of town.
Sure it will.
Another impact that, you know, hopefully I see good in this is the school levy. Again, you and I were speaking before we came on about the impact that's going to make on, you know, the schools here in town once that takes shape and kind of gets through all the processes and everything else of how that's going to impact the schools here.
It really is. Like McKinley's getting a new roof. Several of the schools are getting additional custodians and counselors. St. Albans High School, they're going to turf the softball and baseball fields. They're going to redo the tennis courts. And that's just the outer area that we see with the levy. Mm-hmm. You know, this is a levy that's been in place for 50 or 60 years.
Yeah.
Folks, your taxes are not going up on this, all right? We have been paying this levy tax for 50, 60 years. The last levy, all the football fields got turfed, which helps the whole community. Now, the midget leagues, soccer, lacrosse, they can all play on Crawford Field in St. Albans because it was turf. Beforehand, they couldn't do that because they would tear up the field, and if St. Albans qualified for the playoffs, we wouldn't qualify for a home game.
Right.
Because our field wasn't up, you know, the quality that was needed to qualify. So this is a very important election, and, you know, I personally, as a parent, as a grandparent, as the mayor of St. Albans, encourage people to vote for the Kanawha County school levy. And what I want to also say, this has nothing to do with Amendment 1, 2, 3, or 4, okay? This is separate from those, all right? What everybody needs to do is educate themselves on those amendments, all right, and vote the way they feel. But the school levy is separate from those. It is not the same thing.
And the key note is it does not impact your taxes.
No, it does not impact your taxes. Your taxes are not going to go up.
Right. So, I mean, it's almost like a win-win.
Yes.
No matter what.
Nothing but win-win situation.
Yeah,
you know?
I totally agree. Totally agree. And speaking of another, you know, win-win situation that recently, you know, I saw on social media, and you and I, you know, make sure you mention this today in the podcast, was the announcement of, I think it was on the Virginian, I think that was the newspaper, but the Chesapeake and Ohio Historical Society making a big difference in the showcase of that depot downtown.
They really and truthfully have. We signed a MOU, which is a memorandum of understanding. It's not a locked-in contract, but they are involved now with our depot, and they're fixing it up to where it's very nice for people to come in. They're going to start opening it up once or twice a month so people could come in and visit. But I also want to let folks know that 5th Avenue and 4th Avenue from 2nd Street to 6th Street has been put on the National Historic Registry. So anybody out there that if you want to invest in a hot commodity, which is St. Albans, all right, you get tax incentives and everything else to develop in that area, okay? And it's going to be another area of St. Albans that's going to attract people. Railroad enthusiasts will come from miles and miles and miles away, all right, to visit these. We've applied for grants for a design phase, all right, that gives us up to $50,000 or $60,000 to design. If we get that grant, then that opens the door for us to get up to $450,000 to complete it. We would like to put the depot back to its original, as close as possible to the original design, including the passenger platform.
Oh, wow.
If we get the passenger platform, we can possibly get Amtrak to start stopping here again.
Oh, what an impact that would make, I tell you.
Yes.
Especially getting it back to I think it was 1907
Yes.
was when that place was
Open.
constructed and opened. And we got a taste of the importance of the rail heritage on train days that recently happened here in town down there on the historical area. What a big event. I mean, you had all kinds of people, rail enthusiasts, vendors, music, the Esquires were playing, and it was like this town came to life with everything that was happening down there near that depot. And it was just so wonderful to see that area come to life again.
Yeah, well, St. Albans is rock and roll.
Yeah,
they
it
really
is.
and truthfully are. And, the Chamber put on rail days. C&O Historical Society really cleaned up and fixed up the depot to where it was a very nice, and people enjoyed the displays, the railroad model trains that were, set up there, and we had the Hoppy Shores train that was giving rides to families and kids and stuff like that.
I missed that. I didn't get to ride it. So anyway, but yeah, I mean, such a great impact there and especially thanks to the Chesapeake and Ohio Historical Society and you, Mr. Mayor, for making that all possible and everybody involved. One of the other things that came to mind was you recently attended the West Virginia Flatwater Trail Conference here, recently here in town, didn't you?
Yes, I did last Saturday.
It was last
This past
Saturday. And
out at the Coal River Group at Meadowwood Park.
And that involves the tourism and of course the impact that it's going to make here in town with the access, the kayaking, and of course our flagship event, Yak Fest, of course. Yeah.
Sure it is. St. Albans is the Flatwater kayaking capital of West Virginia. All right, there's no other community in this country that has 1,800 to 2,000 people coming down the river like they do for the Tour de Coal, okay? And it is such an economic impact for the city of St. Albans and other municipalities along the Coal River Trail, which is an 88-mile stretch that includes the Little Coal, the Big Coal, and the Coal River. And it ends up here in St. Albans, and it was so good to see. The big goal is a lot of states right now have made water trails state parks, all right? That's what we're trying to get to here in West Virginia, all right? When we get to labeling them as state parks, like the Wilanda Trail, which is the Coal River, all the Coal Rivers, it's just going to boost tourism. It's going to boost economies along the river. And right now we have about 14 areas in West Virginia that are listed as water trails.
Oh, wow.
Okay, so it's growing. It's one of the fastest growing sports or activities in America today. Kayaking is. And so we've just got to build on this and continue to bring people to our community.
I mean, do you see eventually the city of St. Albans expanding beyond Tour de Coal and beyond Yak Fest to, I guess, more embrace kayaking as a recreational opportunity with the town?
I would love to. I'd love to have kayak races.
Yeah.
And other events, kayak fishing tournaments.
Oh, that'd be
on
great.
the Coal River and things like that. Because right now the Coal River, it's producing a lot of good fish right now.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Where it's one of the cleanest rivers, where it used to be one of the dirtiest rivers in West Virginia. It's one of the cleanest rivers now, and people are catching a variety of fish, smallmouth, catfish, of course. They're catching muskie. You're hearing about muskie. Walleye, all that is being caught on the Cold River now. So we've got to take advantage of this opportunity and bring people to our community to enjoy the river recreation that we have, but also enjoy the businesses that we have here in St. Albans.
I think so too, and of course we also have to be the good steward in keeping those streams and those opportunities protected, and clean too.
I agree. Cold River Group's done a fantastic job on this.
Yeah.
The last phase where we ran the sewer line, not us, but Cold River Group and Greater St. Albans PSD ran the sewer line from Tornado into St. Albans. That has really and truthfully cleaned the river up a whole bunch.
It does. I mean, it looks great out there.
Yeah.
So, I mean, when we talk about our town, that almost sums it up in 2 words: our town.
Our town.
Our town. And of course, one of the gems that we have downtown is the Alban Arts Theater and the Arts Center. And recently, they've started a new tradition with the mayor's play or show of the year. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, it's Adam and I discussed this, and the play is called Our Town. All right, and it is October 28th and 29th, November 4th and 5th at 8 p.m. Sunday matinees on October 30th and November 6th at 2 p.m. And it's a Thornton Wilder play, all right, and it's award-winning, and they do a wonderful job on that. And the synopsis is: our town tells the story of a small mythical town, Grover's Corners, New Hampshire, in order to tell us the story of every town the whole world over. So it's going to be exciting. I'm excited to have this as the mayor's play, and we are going to start a tradition on that every year.
I think it's exciting because it does bolster the importance of a thriving arts and live entertainment, scene in town, to make sure people know how important that is.
Well, it's big. And, when I was running for office first time, Anthony, I had people coming up to me. For some reason, people said, I hear you're going to close the Alban down. You're going to do this. You're going to do that. And I said, no, I just want to know more about it. Right. But I'm smart enough. I'm a sports guy. I grew up coaching. My kids played sports and everything. But the arts is another area that people can excel in. And it brings a lot of people to our community.
It does.
All right. And Adam Bryan and Marley Carter, who run the Alban, do a fantastic job.
Yeah, they do.
All right. They're award-winning, especially during COVID. They were recognized for doing plays and stuff online.
Yeah, I remember seeing it.
And so, and then we have, what's his name? Played Lou Grant. We had him here twice. He'd won 7 Emmys. Ed Asner.
Yeah.
Ed Asner. And we got to spend some time with him, and it was awesome. But, all I do is try to surround myself with people that are experts in those areas, and then I get out of their way. Let them do their job.
And they're doing a phenomenal job. I mean, and I think the arts are actually bleeding over into the live music scene that's actually being revived here in town. There's not a night, it seems, that you can not find someone playing in town.
3, 4, 5 nights a week, you can find live music at the Cold River Coffee. You can find at the Tap, at the Cellar. We have open mic on the new plaza periodically. So it has become an area that live music is very active and a very big part of our schedule and everything else.
I think it's wonderful because it does, like you said, bring people in town. And you mentioned a location that kind of had a little bit of spotlight this past week, and you actually got to experience walking into a film set, and you had me all excited because I thought finally St. Albans is getting their own Hallmark Christmas movie.
Yeah, well, I'm going to tell you what.
But it was something different, right?
Yeah, Michael Irvin texted me last week and said, we're going to be filming a commercial next week. They want to talk to the mayor. I said, okay, no problem. So, I played the role, put my sport coat on, my tie, and all this and that. And I walked in Cold River Coffee yesterday, and I thought, Lord be, what have I walked myself into? This was a major production, okay, major production. And it was through the NFIB, which is National Federation of Independent Business Owners. Mm-hmm. They do a lot of lobbying in D.C. and at the state level to enhance small businesses, to grow and prosper, which helps the economy in the local municipalities. Yes. And it was awesome. They actually sent me back to the back room, and some girl from Lewisburg did a little bit of makeup on me. I was like, I looked at Lee Roberts, one of our councilmen. I said, if you tell anybody at council that I had makeup put on, I'm gonna punch you right in the mouth. So, but how this came about was the NFIB started interviewing small businesses that were very interactive with them. Mm-hmm. Okay, and they. After the interviews, they ended up choosing Cold River Coffee, and they're spotlighting St. Albans in a big, big way.
Perfect.
And these commercials are going to go statewide, and they might go national. So I'm very excited about this.
Oh, yeah, as we all should be. I mean, that's a national spotlight on our town. Yeah. I mean, in a great light. So, and it just, like you said, brings more people in to discover St. Albans and what it has to offer. So the more and more opportunities like that happen, the better, I think.
Exactly. Yeah. If we get them here, they keep coming back.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we've had a lot of things going on in town, and, one of the most recent events that we, I guess, packed Main Street was Fall Y'all. I mean, Fall Y'all was shoulder to shoulder. You could barely walk around, but it's made such a huge impact, probably economically, just much like Yak Fest. But, I would say Fall Y'all this year was even a larger success than it was last year.
It's the biggest crowd I've ever seen in my tenure for the Chili Festival. There had to be 3,000 plus people there. It was unbelievable. We had 20-some chili vendors. We had other vendors. And Paula and the Fall Y'all Festival Committee do a fantastic job. Again, volunteers. Mm-hmm. All right, that are helping out our community, and the proceeds go to the K-9 program at the St. Albans Police Department.
I think the St. Albans Police Department placed third in that.
They did in the judges.
Yeah.
Then, I can't remember. Todd Judy's group won.
Yeah.
The Snyder sisters were second, and the police were third in the judges, and the People's Choice Award went to Drummies.
Yeah. Really good chili, I tell you.
Yeah, I'm gonna go down and get some, I think, after this podcast.
Might just join you, but speaking of good eats, I mean, the word apple butter, just by saying that, you could probably get a whiff of that magical aroma of apple butter. Oh. And there's been a lot of that going around town, especially with the Fall Festival down there at Morgan's Kitchen recently.
Yep. Morgan's Kitchen Fall Festival put on by the Historical Society is always a great event. The weather was beautiful that weekend, same weekend as the Chili Festival. We went over there early. It was well attended. They were cooking the apple butter. There were a lot of vendors, a lot of people, music, and it was a great event. The Historical Society does a lot for the community of St. Albans.
They do, and the preservation of history is one, but also holding events like this, I think, it makes that history come alive,
right,
in many ways than one. So, kudos to them too. So, correct me if I'm wrong. Is apple butter still available at Village Sampler?
Yes, it is, but it's going quick, so if you want some delicious apple butter, get down Village Sampler. It's for sale there on Old Main, and or if you know somebody in the Historical Society, they could probably get you some also.
Yeah, we'll probably have to preface with while supplies last, probably. Yeah?
Yes, while supplies last.
Go quick. But let's go over some upcoming events here. I mean, it's hard to believe I'm looking at the word fall.
Oh,
and it's cold.
Yeah, it is cold. Today was a cold day, and Anthony, I used to wear shorts all the time at football games when I was athletic trainer and coaching, and nowadays I can't get bundled up enough. The older you get, the more you dislike cold weather.
Totally agree. Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it is. I mean, it is getting colder, and of course, when that happens, all these leaves fall off these trees. And it seems like every year the Public Works Department, they do their annual fall leaf pickup, and that started this week. And they're doing a heck of a job keeping the streets clean and getting those leaves up, yeah?
They do, and what people need to do is they need to rake their leaves up to the curb, not out in the street, but up right, in their yard up to the curb. Mm-hmm. And on trash day, unless we have a situation where the vac truck might be broken down or whatever, but on trash day, they will come through that ward, okay, and pick up leaves.
And there's specific days I'm looking at. Mondays obviously are Ward 1 and 2. Tuesdays, Ward 3 and 4. Wednesdays, 5 and 6. Thursday, 7 and 8. And then Friday is designated as Ward 9. How is this? It goes on more than just 1 week. It probably lasts 3 or 4 weeks, or is
well, they usually look for till the first snowfall in December.
Gotcha.
But when I took office, I said, guys, there's some trees that the leaves fall off later than others. Mm-hmm. So we have to keep going until all the leaves are picked up. Okay. So if you've got leaves out there, let the Public Works know, and they'll get them picked up.
That's good. That's great. And they do a heck of a job doing what they do, and I'm always grateful to see the job that they do. But you mentioned earlier the Historical Society, and we've got a gem in town. Her name is Denise Cyrus, and she does a phenomenal job, not only with that society but also the history and mystery tours. It is obviously Halloween season, and those have been a popular hit, from what I understand.
Yeah, there's been a good turnout for those. I haven't been able to take one at this time. I hope to before they're over with. But it's a walking tour focused on our town's previous name, Colesmouth, during the Civil War era, and it features live actors, and it talks about, some of the history, but also the mysteries of Colesmouth and St. Albans.
Yeah, I mean, there's tons of history,
yes,
packed in just one square block of this town.
Yes.
There's so much history packed into that one square block. It'll blow your mind.
It really is. And, there's 3 dates left. There's tours on October 22nd, 29th, and 31st. I think I'm not sure the cost's like $10 or something.
Yeah, I think there's some cost in there.
Yeah, and but it's very interesting, and it would be well worth your effort and your evening to participate in one of these history and mystery tours.
And what's cool about it is it's a family friendly, kid friendly type thing too.
Sure.
It's it's made for the entire family. It's not just an adults only or geared toward kids. It appeals to all ages, which is great.
It is, and I know London Blue, who's a resident of St. Albans and an author. That's her pen name. She's been involved, I think, this past weekend with the History and Mystery Tour. She had some people from Hollywood in, and that was a great success. So, there's always something going on, and we just continue to try to grow and promote St. Albans with all these activities and these events for people to participate in. And like I've said in the past on this podcast, if anybody says there's nothing to do in St. Albans, get your head out of the sand, man, because there's always something going on in St. Albans.
Absolutely, totally agree. And something that has came up quickly on the horizon, quicker than I expected. I didn't think it would be here. But you have this pub crawl going on Main Street, October 22nd, which is this weekend. It's probably the first pub crawl in town. Am I correct?
That is correct. I was approached by a group of people wanting to have a pub crawl. It includes the cafe. It includes Drummies, the Tap, Shuckers, Cold River Coffee, and Cozumel. Those are the 6 businesses participating. And with a pub crawl, It's a $25 cost. You get a T-shirt, your wristband, and cup for that $25, and that allows you to go in and get a drink at any of the bars, and you can may walk back out on the street, all right, and participate with your drink out on the street. They're going to have cornhole, several games and activities going on Old Main. We're going to close Old Main down at 2 o'clock Saturday afternoon. Mm-hmm. Then we're going to close the other area of Main Street from 3rd Street to 2nd Street at 5 o'clock. And we're actually closing down 2nd Street from Canal Terrace to 6th Avenue because people are going to be walking back and forth. Right. We got permission from the DOH to do that. All right, so beware of that. And, if you're coming out Pennsylvania or wherever and you're wanting to go down 2nd Street, all you got to do is take a right and go down 3rd Street. Yeah. Okay, it's not a big deal. It's not putting you out a whole lot, but this is going to be another activity that is going to allow bring people to our community that maybe have never been here, and guess what? They're going to keep coming back.
I agree, and it almost seems like it would appeal to I don't want to say a different crowd, but maybe an expanded crowd of a different demographic, that maybe may not go to a rain or trails or train days or this or that
chili festival,
or chili festival.
Yeah, I mean that's what you got to do. You got to offer a variety of activities and events that draw different people.
Right. Yeah.
Between the arts, between the festivals that we have,
totally
and
agree.
The different events that the parks mm-hmm. and everybody else has, Historical Society, and again, it draws different people each event. All right, and when they come to St. Albans, again, they really fall in love with St. Albans, and they keep coming back.
And they leave an impact on town because this particular event itself, it leaves something behind of the greater good of benefiting something in town too, which is the Alban Arts Academy.
Yes, it is. It's going to the funds that are earned through this group goes to the Alban Arts Academy for scholarships for children to go to acting classes and be part of the Alban Arts Academy. So, all the activities that we have in St. Albans, pretty much the proceeds go somewhere. Right. And be it the K-9 unit, be it the Alban or whatever. So the whole community benefits from these festivities.
That's great. I mean, that's what it's all about, really, is doing good with good.
Yes, you're exactly right.
And speaking of which, last weekend I was up there, actually, the St. Albans Haunted Trail at the city park. They had nearly 1,000 people both nights, Friday and Saturday night. Even on a high school football night on Friday, both nights together, they had close to 1,000 people.
Yeah, they did.
It was phenomenal.
Oh, it was. And Friday night would have been a lot bigger, but they were recognizing all the elementary, middle schools, and high school students that have made achievement on their test scores and grades.
Yeah.
All right, which is a great thing. We need to recognize those folks. But this coming weekend, which is the 21st and 22nd, mm-hmm. I think it gets started at 6 o'clock or 7 o'clock.
The trail gates open at 7, and they usually get started around 7:15, 7:30.
Yeah, 7. It's going to be packed. I mean, I'll be surprised if we don't have 1,500 to 2,000 this weekend.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be big. They've got, of course, the free parking, the hay rides, the photo booth, the group that means so much, in town, the On Purpose Project. They're actually going to do a photo booth, a free photo booth up there, which is kind of cool because you're able to capture your memory of being up there as you're there, and you walk away with a memory there in your hands. But also live music, that's something they added this year, which has been a big hit. I think the last week we had From the Ashes, which is a local duo. There's a guy and a girl, and they sounded really good, really, really good up there. And of course concessions, and it's only $5 to get in.
That's it.
And
Just
you can't beat
$5.
that price.
No.
So
you can't eat at McDonald's with a family of 4 for under $20.
It's true. That's true. But and of course, this coming weekend being at the final weekend of the Haunted Trail, Scott has put together Scott Tweedy, the program director of the Parks and Rec, has actually put together another event preceding the haunted trail on this 22nd, which is called a free Halloween family fun night up there at Coleman Field. So, if you're looking for something to do with the kids and the whole family, that's family oriented, you can get your pumpkin decorating going on, face painting, inflatables. The St. Albans PD and the fire department are going to have what's called a first responder experience.
Yep.
Which is kind of really neat because you get to see and experience a fire truck as a kid. That to me that was awesome when I was a kid, being in a fire truck.
Always wanted to be on a fire truck.
Yeah.
Man.
So you get to experience that. Of course, On Purpose Project is going to be back. They're going to have hot chocolate. I don't know if a 70-degree weather day is going to be decent for hot chocolate, but why not? It's fall.
It is. It is. And something I want to say about the On Purpose Project. That was a 3-year grant for developmentally disabled individuals, and it's been a huge success.
It has. Yeah.
The grant ran out September 29th, and I give credit to the city finance committee and council.
Mm-hmm.
I approached them about continuing this project, and they have continued it. So we'll have the On Purpose Project at least for this year, and hopefully we can continue it afterwards.
I know that they've made a really positive impact in town with what they're doing, their cause, their mission, and how they leave our town so much more full of life in what they do, and it's amazing work they do. So that's great news to hear that there's a continuance on their program. But another thing that's going on this weekend, on top of and alongside the haunted trail that evening on Saturday is a costume contest. So, that's pretty big doings. I hear there's a pretty big cash prize.
$500, winner takes all contest, judged on creativity, originality, and attention to detail.
That's
got to be 18 or older to enter.
Yeah, that was one of the things, 18 and up, but I think it's going to be a big hit because, you have a lot of creative people out there. Especially now at Halloween. But hopefully it'll go well. I'm sure it will. But they're going to announce that winner that night. I think the judges is going to start somewhere around 9, and then the winner will be announced around 9:30. So they'll be judging all the way through the night.
From 7 p.m. on.
Yeah, and then the winners will be tallied, and then the only thing is you must be present to win, which is a really good idea. But it keeps people in that event.
Yep.
Keeps them buying concessions, keeps them on the trail.
It does.
Keeps them engaged. So I think it's going to be a really, really great time up there. So if you're in town, you should be able to check that out. There's no cost to enter. Of course, the trail entry to get on the haunted trail is $5. But there's no cost to enter that contest.
No, and one thing I want to say: any children 4 and under are free.
Yeah, which is important. Yeah, definitely. But our big night, one of the big nights around Halloween, of course, is our infamous trunk or treat. And I checked with Scott, I think it was 3 days ago, on the number of registrations, and I think there's at least 30 organizations, businesses,
already
individuals.
Going to be handing out candy and stuff.
Yeah, so that's going to be big doings. This year it's at Maranatha Fellowship, the parking lot up there. From what I was told, that the trucks down at the mall area were so much in the way they had to move the location.
Yes, they did. And, we don't have control over the mall. That's private property. And so we approached Maranatha, which has always been a great community partner. Mm-hmm. And they're allowing it. It's going to be exciting. Unfortunately, I'm going to be in Buchanan that night. One of my former players, first team All-State center, Haley Legs, getting married up in Buchanan. So we were invited, and I'm going to be up there for that. I'll miss. Nice. This is the first trunk or treat that I've missed since I've been in office.
I'm sure you remember last year's down at the mall.
It was crazy.
There was just people everywhere.
Yeah.
From where they were signing, or they had the table, I think it was called Grinders. That used to be Grinders.
Yeah.
They had the tables, kind of entryway or whatever. But their line stretched all the way closer to Kroger's.
Yeah.
Which was unbelievable.
It was nuts, but, people realize that when we put on events and activities in St. Albans, it's going to be top notch.
Yeah, and it's going to be a big deal. So, But as far as the groups and businesses, if you guys are interested in participating, You can check it out and register at saparkswv.com/trunk-or-treat. And you can get registered there with the Parks and Rec to attend and participate into Trunk or Treat. Then, of course, the big deal, citywide Trick or Treat, the 31st of October.
Monday evening, 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. So we follow Kanawha County's lead on this. And so rain or shine, there'll be Trick or Treat on October 31st from 6 to 8 p.m.
I always look forward to Trick or Treat because it was the moment where the very next day I had a hard, difficult choice of where to dig into that candy bag.
Yeah.
And it made my life difficult there for a while because I was torn between Kit Kats, Starburst, Sprees, and Nerds. Remember the Nerds candy way back then?
I remember, but now when I was a kid, there wasn't Nerds candy. Okay, now come on. Now, hey, and we used to take candy to school afterwards, and we'd get in trouble. Golly,
Yeah.
Neds, I mean, you know. But Trick or Treat is some fond memories, and like I said, I remember Trick or Treating when it was beautiful, when it was cold, when it was rainy.
Yeah.
But it did not interfere with our fun.
And it
whatsoever.
will not this year either. I
No.
mean, it's a rain or shine deal.
Yeah.
October 31st, 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. And like the mayor said, we're going to follow the Kanawha County guidelines of that right there. But something else that is kind of dear to me, you know, and Donna over there at the SAPD ran this across my desk earlier, and she wanted me to put this in there if you don't mind. But they're going to be hosting a prescription drug take-back day in cooperation with the DEA on the 29th. And what that is basically it's a free and safe opportunity for you to clean out your medicine cabinets and get rid of pill-based prescription drugs without any risk, any whatever. It's just a clean, safe way to get those out of your house and keep them away from harmful hands and out of the public. But that's going on the 29th, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. So it's pill form only, but they can't accept any needles. They can't do liquids, inhalers, or stuff like that. So it's always a good thing because, like I said, it keeps those harmful drugs off the streets and out of bad hands.
And it keeps from people flushing them down the toilet.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know,
Yeah.
because then it gets in our water system.
Yep.
And that's not a good thing. So this is going on. We've always had a lot of success with this. And whenever they bring them down, we'll dispose of them appropriately and get them off your hands, get them off the streets, and get them off our hands.
Yeah,
so,
definitely. And it's they typically do that behind the police station on B Street.
yes.
I think it's you pull in right there on B Street behind where I guess the fire, the open bays for the fire trucks.
Yeah.
And you pull in behind, you can basically stay in your car from what I understand. Hand them over, and there you are.
Yep.
You're done. So,
You can.
which is a great cause and a great way to do that. But, coming up on November 5th, we've got another fun event, the Veterans Day Parade.
Yes, Veterans Day Parade, the VFW and American Legion put this on. It's a great event. It continues to grow and get better each and every year. Lineup is at 9:30 a.m. at Park Street. Parade starts around 11 a.m. All right, the VFW Auxiliary Post 6418 and American Legion Post 73 are the host of this. And so if you want to be in the parade, you can get a hold of Del Withrow or the American Legion, and you can be in the parade. So
That sounds great. I always love watching parades because you see all these streets. You see the streets lined with community members and citizens, and they're out enjoying and having a good time. And Veterans Day, obviously, and the Christmas parade. We'll get into the Christmas events probably next podcast with Kevin with the Festival of Lights and a couple of other larger Christmas events that are going on in town. So, any other events you make sure that we get out there?
Nothing that we haven't covered, I don't believe. So, but there's always something happening in St. Albans. Like I've said before, St. Albans, West Virginia's best kept secret, but the secret's getting out. People enjoy our community. be part of volunteering to make us a better community, because it takes all of us.
Absolutely.
Not just city employees, not just the mayor, not just city council, but it takes everybody to make this community the place that we want to be and to raise children.
I totally agree with you. And all those events that the mayor and I were talking about, you can find those on stalbanswv.com/events. That's on the city's website, on the interactive events calendar.
Yes.
It's an interactive calendar. You can actually add it to your Google Calendar or add it to your Apple, calendar, your iCalendar. You can even search it by map too. If you want to know what's going on in town, you can search by location. So it's pretty cool.
Right. And, I want to give credit to Anthony Romeo. He doesn't take enough credit because all that technology stuff's above my pay grade. But the city has hired him as his IT guy, and he's done a fantastic job. What Anthony Lewis does with his podcast, they approached us, and guys, I'm always willing to talk about St. Albans and what's happening in St. Albans.
Well, we just appreciate you, coming on and helping us out and get the positive word out about what a great town St. Albans is, and we just appreciate you being a part of the podcast and help us out here.
I'll put St. Albans up against any of them.
I bet you would.
Yeah.
So, but again, we got to thank our producer Anthony Lewis for keeping the show rolling and making sure that we're making sure things are rolling smooth. But other than that, we do thank you for joining us for the City of St. Albans official podcast from the desk of the Mayor James, and we hope this inside look at our city government and upcoming events helps you feel more engaged with your community. We appreciate your support of our efforts to make St. Albans a thriving community for all. And be sure to subscribe, like, and share our podcast on your favorite podcast platform and on social media. And as always, keep in mind that these podcast episodes will also be available on the city's website at stalbanswv.com/podcast. Thank you again for listening, and we'll see you soon.
God bless.